love my H in front of my B in front of my C. I love my HBCU.
Hey, I tell her why, good. That's what we do. Yeah. With our backs against the wall. Serve heartbreak, bitter feelings. Every time you were pushed to your limit, God showed you how to make the most of what you were given. Yep, and now I get it. What you were teaching me, show me not what I wanted, but what I need to see. But sometimes I ignored you, I apologize. You did say a hard head makes yourself behind. Zero compromise, always make the sacrifice. For your kids, we can live a better life. Praying for us through the night. I get my stuff from you, bring the hook in. This is what we gotta do. Tell them why, cause that's what we do. With our backs against the wall. We got tough times too, tough times don't last. Some people do, so put up the deuce, adjust the deuce. Fight or flight, which pill, red or blue. Every life matters, not a soul can change that. I hashtag with Twitter can't make a break that. Take that. I'm on my DDF, make them get together. Who's coming with me?
That's what we do.
Hey, if you know the words, sing it to
With
me.
our backs against the wall.
Hey.
We got nothing to lose.
Alrighty then. So what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Patrick Gamble, aka Pat G. I am from Temple, Texas, born and raised, and I've been in Austin, Texas for about 6 years.
Awesome.
So what inspired you to be a musician?
I've always loved music. I grew up playing the violin and the cello, and I just believed that, I had something to say, so I just started writing and rapping and stuff like that. It was something I kind of picked up late in the last few years or so, but I've always loved music and like stringed instruments and stuff like that, so that's just kind of where my roots started at.
What African American artist inspired you or did you look up to growing up?
Definitely Kanye West. I honestly could probably, the way he incorporated stringed instruments into his music and even his sampling and stuff like that is kind of like where I got my whole style when I first started. So definitely Kanye West is a big influence on my music, and you can definitely tell if you listen to my music in the beginning,
Gotcha. This is a sidebar question.
Yeah.
How about his political views? Do you agree with Kanye West's
His political views, honestly, his political views don't make me upset and they don't make me happy. You know what I'm saying? They don't really move me one way or the other because those are his views and he's entitled to his opinion, When it comes to the people that are in charge of this country and leading this country, I just prefer that we have a better leader than the one we have now. So that's kind of like my take on it there.
Awesome.
So what brought you to HT?
Brought me to HT. Honestly, I can't remember how I even got. Oh, actually, I just graduated from ACC here in Austin, Texas, and I was looking for the next school to go to because I knew I had to finish. I wanted to get my bachelor's degree, so I was looking for schools and places to go. And I did a search on Google, and this is one of the ones that popped up actually. And so when I came up here to visit the school, I just saw how rich the culture was. There's a lot of people that look like me around here, so I decided to just come here, and I ended up getting a track scholarship, and so that's why I'm here now. So, or graduated,
Awesome. How do you support your community?
How do I support my community? One of the ways I do that is I'm always looking to give back. I believe in like each one teach one. So anytime I'm able to go back and talk to the people at schools and stuff like that, or like work with kids and be around them and be an influence, be that good role model that they need. That's how I help my community. That's one of the biggest ways I do it now.
Awesome.
So what's unique about your artistry?
What is unique about my artistry is simply the fact that I am me in what I do. And just being yourself is what makes you stand out from everybody else, because when you are yourself, you are unique in your own way. I don't, a lot of people actually ask me, do I like curse in my music? And no, I don't. But that's one of the things that really stands out. They like the positive message in my music. They like that I'm able to talk about things that are important and even tell stories and stuff like that. So, yeah.
You say you talk about things that are important, like things like what?
Relationships, like with my mom, relationships with my dad, or not being there. Love, political views as well. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. And also, recently there was a 1619 project put out by the New York Times, and it's also, who's it by again?
Nicole Hannah Jones.
Hannah Jones. So basically, it's she's remembering the 400th year or anniversary of slavery, and she's seeing how it's been 400 years, but there's still some things happening in our neighborhoods, such as systematic racism, gentrification. Kind of a follow up on that question is like, do you have a song, or is there something that sticks out to you in your music that when you're talking about these issues that are happening in today's world?
Well, my song It's Too Late. I talk about it's more on the religious side, and then I go into like the political side of things. But I think I haven't necessarily pinpointed on racism or like slavery and racism just yet, but I definitely will eventually. And so I know, just speaking wise, I know one thing that I look into as far as that's concerned is that I want people to just continue to like vocalize these issues and continue to take action in these issues. Like when you see something, say something. You know what I'm saying? Make it a big deal. Make people uncomfortable until that paradigm is shifted, and it is shifting, and I believe it will continue to shift. So just continue to speak on those things that are happening in our communities and making it and bringing it out to light.
Perfect.
I would say you kind of like touch on current topics and other things like in Broken, and like you bring up good points in Broken.
Oh, Broken. So the second verse, like in particular, I think I started out with talking about like.
I was like, spit a bar.
I got you. I said, don't stress, only progress. Never do nothing less than your best. You're too blessed. Live life with no regrets. To build wealth, make more, spend less, invest. Yes, I'm giving the game for free. Please get this clear. I didn't come to compete. I came to dominate and thrive, not just survive. I wasn't born just to pay bills and die. Look alive, cruising down I-35 with a heavy heart. Morning like the sunrise. It hasn't dawned on me yet why. Evil men take innocent lives, and the motives are inconclusive and clueless. Students kill students. It'll give you the blues like St. Louis. Thinking, what can I do? How can I help? How can I help anybody? I can't help myself. I'm so broken. And so, like in that particular verse, I can distinctly remember what was happening at the time. I remember there was another school shooting, and I think it was right around the same time that guy had shot up that concert in Las Vegas or something like that. I think Ariana Grande's concert. And so, you see these things happen, and I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that position. I didn't have to go through those things, but I'm just like, how can I help those people? What can I do to change that? You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I was just saying, like, I felt like helpless at the time. And so that's just kind of how I put things into like context for people sometimes through my rhymes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Last question. This was more so like, I guess, personal. What allows you, or what resonates inside you to shine your light so bright? Like, what is it that picks you up every day? You're like, today I'm gonna be myself.
Oh, definitely God. Definitely God. If it wasn't for God like giving me the light that He gave me, I wouldn't be in the position I am in now. And I just know that He's able to sustain me and take care of me and do what I need to do. And He also gives me the strength to do what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm definitely for sure just God, because there's nobody like me. There's not one, and then there will be anybody else like me. So be relentless. We don't just talk it, we live it.
Perfect. All right. Any last comments or anything you want to say to your fans?
Shout out to the Fighting Rams, my people. I love y'all.
Dope. All right. So my name is Juan Zuniga. Go ahead and state your full name and classification.
Demi Brown, sophomore.
All right. So what high school did you go to?
I attended East Austin College Prep.
What has your life been like here at HT?
It has been amazing. I've learned so much about going to HBCU, and I've also met a lot of wonderful people that are from Austin.
Are you a first-generation college student?
Yes, I am.
That's amazing. Were you born and raised here in Austin?
Yes.
Awesome. What high school did you go to?
East Austin College Prep.
How was your high school experience?
It was a great experience. I wish I could go back. I made a lot of friends in high school that sadly did.
Awesome. So how was graduating for you? Like, what was the feeling like when you graduated high school?
At first, I was just sad, you know, I cried a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But then after, I was like, I'm proud of myself. I accomplished getting my high school diploma.
That's awesome. Congrats, Demi.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So like your first day at H2, your first day coming here, like registering for classes or even starting classes, like how did that feel or how was that experience? Like, is there any like memory you have of, oh, like when I first got here, I met this one girl or one guy, like was there any story you have? Yeah, go ahead.
So when I first moved into my dorm, I met my roommate and me and her ended up becoming really good friends. We both, we always went to lunch, hung out together, and she joined the cheerleading team, and also I was the manager of the cheer team, so we always were together.
So y'all was all like two peas in a pod.
Yes, exactly.
So, what classes are you taking right now at HT?
I am currently taking human anatomy and Spanish, African American literature, and U.S. history.
Wow, very diverse classes. Sure, a lot of reading.
Yes, especially in anatomy and memorization.
Oh my, and you're a biology major?
Yes.
So you want to study biology in the future too, or you like what do you want to do with your biology degree?
I want to become a physician's assistant or somewhere in the medical field, especially working with children.
Oh, so you have a passion to work with children?
Yes, my younger siblings inspire me.
Oh, that's so cute. I'm sure they look up to you a lot, Demi.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, Demi, so I'm in an African American lit class right now. We're learning a lot about African American writers, especially during the slavery period. I'm reading a book right now called The Known World, and it's really interesting to learn that not only were white people owning slaves, but black people were owning slaves too. Like, what do you think about that? Do you think, like, what's your first thoughts about that?
I find that actually kind of shocking that black people owned slaves, because usually when I hear about slavery, it's more that white people are owning slaves, indigenous people, people not of the white race, or
Yeah, it's super interesting story, and basically, like what I got from it is like we're all complicit in slavery. Like even though like now like slavery's over with, like we still have people who are like low income class or like immigrants or like people who we take advantage of, and we don't really appreciate in America. But it takes a strong voice to come up and speak up for those people. So you know, reading these books like The Underground Railroad, The Beloved, it was as if these people were speaking up for people that were silenced like in slavery. Like what ways do you see people speaking up now or like protesting for the rights of African American people and people of color?
well, especially like in kind of like the Black Lives Matter movement, especially with regards to especially when it comes to the Trayvon Martin case, because you see that once the judge made his or her decision, that the people who were protesting, they didn't agree, and so that just outraged them more, and they fought harder for what they believed in.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases going on about that right now, especially living in Texas. Like the death penalty is something that like people are trying to abolish. There's African Americans who are being like wrongfully convicted and even killed just for doing stuff they never did. Do you think we'll ever get justice for those people, or for people who are wrongfully killed?
I think possibly one day justice will come, but maybe only for a few, not all, because I believe that there will still be some injustice going on long down the road into the future.
Yeah, most definitely. And last question, Demi. Being that you go to a HBCU, you're a first generation college student, you're making history for your family. What's one way you'll give back to your community or restore justice when in your future career as a like a clinical assistant or something in the medical field?
I would give back by hosting like free events for kids, especially like just checking their blood pressure, just little checkups now and then.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Demi.
Thank you.
And good luck on your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Hello. If you could just tell us your first and last name and your classification here at HT.
Yes. Hi, my name is Tillis Hayes. I am a first-year senior. I'm a music education major, so I have 5 years to complete my degree. My title, I am Miss Huston-Tillotson University. I'm proudly and humbly serving as the 67th Miss HT. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to interview with us. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions just about your HBCU experience and how important African American literature and history is kind of in your upbringing here at HT. So first and foremost, what brought you to HT?
Wow, that's such a great question. So I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and our choir director here, Dr. Gloria Quinlan, she actually knows my pastor in San Antonio, and they actually went to an HBCU together. They went to Texas Southern University, where they both studied music, and so they were really good friends, and they were in like choir together and stuff. And so it's biannually, the HT choir would come to my church in San Antonio. And so when I was 12 years old, the HT choir came to San Antonio, and they came to my church, and I just fell in love with the rich sound of just Black voices, and there were other minorities in the choir as well. So just that sound of people of color coming together and the beauty of their voices, and I just fell in love with the HT choir. And so I was really interested in HT when I was like 12, and then I kind of started looking at other schools. And I had a $20,000 scholarship to go to a different university in San Antonio, but even that was not enough to pay for my schooling. So I applied for the Du Bois scholarship for HT, and I got it. I got into HT, and just everything just kind of played out well enough for me to be able to come here.
That's awesome. Sometimes those divine interventions in our life is what makes all the difference.
Yes.
Well, congrats on getting to HT. I know that's half the battle. And then the other part is completing, and you're almost there. First year senior. So how has your HBCU experience been? Like, if you could encapsulate it into just a few words. You don't have to. Yeah.
My HBCU experience has been so amazing, and that doesn't mean it was without struggle or without trial. It just means that I know that I'm growing, and I've seen my growth. I felt my growth. I think differently than I did when I first came here. I feel like I talk a little bit differently than I did when I first came here. And I feel like being at an HBCU, being here, just helped me to grow as a person. And even though I'm right up the road, some just being busy in the university kind of prohibited me from going home as soon as I would like to. And so like, I would get homesick sometimes, but the HBCU experience, everybody was still like my family here. And you know, you love your family, you fight with your family, you have family members who you don't you don't mess with, but like again, like your family helps you grow and keeps you grounded. And that's just been my HBCU experience, growing and being grounded.
That's amazing. And you hit it perfectly, like growing and just being grounded in the HBCU experience. And as we know, we reside in East Austin. We have a historically Black campus that we reside on, and it is the 400th year of slavery, or anniversary, I should say. And seeing that we're at a historically Black campus, and people such as, you have Toni Morrison, Ida B. Wells, very historical figures who have just kind of encapsulated what it means to write as an African American writer or historian. How has those experiences, like in Beloved, how has it shaped where you are now as it pertains to like remembering who you are? They remembered about their ancestors and said, they were slaves, and even though in Beloved she was getting haunted and whatnot, it allowed her to have a spiritual connection with what her ancestors went through, to remind her that the struggle still wasn't over. So here at HT, our ancestors have fought for us to be here for 175 almost years. So what do you have a spiritual connection as far as being a queen? And you said you're 78th queen.
67. So yeah, I got
What
you.
is your spiritual connection to HT?
Okay, that's a deep question. In relation to Beloved, I believe like one of the big themes was kind of like trying to silence the voice of slavery, or trying to an ancestral past kind of coming back without your you're not trying to bring it up, you're avoiding it. And I know that, how do you say her name? Seth or
Seth.
Seth,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Seth, like she, not that she tried to avoid what she had done to her children, but it was kind of almost like, because they didn't recognize who Beloved was, they couldn't get to the point of understanding that this is your past, and this is your past coming back to you. So just at an HBCU, I believe that it is inevitable for us to come with the excuse me, I'm all over the place. It's inevitable for us to understand that we're on land that our ancestors used to work. Like we have that knowledge in our brains. And so what's also inevitable is for us to come into an understanding that we have greatness, because the reason that we're here today is because our ancestors made it off the boat, or however they were brought over, and everyone's ancestors may not have been on the boat, but in the grand scheme of thinking, you can say that. And so being here reminds me of like my history, or it always strengthens me and empowers me, because I'm just brought to the realization that people were not in the position that I am in today. And I'm so like blessed, and it's such an amazing opportunity to be here. And I recently had the opportunity to sing, me and a few members of the choir. We went to New York and we got to perform with the Wynton Marsalis Jazz Band, and we were being conducted by Damian Sneed. And we were doing this piece called the Abyssinian Mass. And one of the parts of the Abyssinian Mass, it was called the meditation, I believe. It's either the meditation, it might have been the meditation. I have to make sure, but the whole point, there's a point in the whole show that we were doing in which we're supposed to embody the cries of slaves. And at first I had felt like, oh my gosh, like this is making me sad. But the woman next to me said, she was like, don't let it make you sad. Let it empower you. Let it build you up and remind you of where you've come from, or or where your family could have come from. And like without that part of our history, that this 400th year that we're commemorating and remembering, without that we would not be here. And so it was really I didn't let it make me sad. I let it empower me. And when it was my time to embody the cry of the slave, I cried out for my ancestors, and I cried out for the toil that they had experienced while they were trying to work for our freedom and the freedoms that we get to have today on HT's campus. I hope that answered.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tillis. You answered that perfectly. And I really thank you for sharing that experience in New York, because that was really beautiful.
That was amazing.
And God bless you on your journey. And my last quick question is, when you went to go run for Miss HT in their pageant, there was a special chant that you learned. I would get when I like my H in front of my.
Yes.
If you can say that, because I wanna. It's gonna be your intro.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
specifically, I learned it when I went to run in Atlanta. I ran with 32 other HBCU queens.
Wow.
And fortunately, we were blessed to place in the top 10, or I was. I worked hard enough, and fortunately, the judges liked me enough and placed me in the top 10. But the chant goes, I love my H in front of my B in front of my C. I love my HBCU. U. Hey, I love my H in front of my B in front of my C. I love my HBCU.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan C. Whitworth here at Huston-Tillotson University. I am a rising senior that is an education and history major.
What history have you made here at HT?
I'm currently the first and only active duty option cadet here at HT that represents at UT. Also, I orchestrated the first participation of Huston-Tillotson University in the Veterans Day Parade here in Austin last year.
How important is representation as a male teacher?
As a male teacher, especially a black male teacher, is very, very important due to the fact that most of our schools are predominantly female, white, especially in our own community. So my role as an educator is very important because our students must have teachers that look like us in order for them to contextualize different things and to be able to relate the information that they're learning.
So you talked about contextualizing information. What do you think about African American history or literature in the classroom?
So until I came to Huston-Tillotson and outside of my upbringing, there's not a large presence in our community. We're often taught that it's not worth it, it's annoying, the teacher's overbearing when we do have it. I just share a quick experience with you. I had a African American teacher named Naeem Young, 8th grade. I was irritated every day because the way she taught it, but as I progressed through life, all those lessons she taught me from that grade have stuck with me as far as our literature and understanding the importance of us and our histories. In order to know where you're going, you gotta know where you come from.
I'm currently reading a book by Colson Whitehead called The Underground Railroad. And even though he's not talking about the physical Underground Railroad that was present during slavery, how do you think that's kind of moved through time as a symbol for freedom?
So the Underground Railroad with Harriet Tubman was initially the whole concept of getting slaves free to different parts of this country through underground trails. Well, transcending through time with the Civil Rights Movement, different things in the 90s, those different movements, the social injustices, what has happened is African Americans have to still use the Underground Railroad in order to get into what we like to call being inside the room. If we're not in that room to make those decisions, we don't know what's going on in the community. And the Underground Railroad is a figurative language for saying, hey, we have to do things underneath the radar as African Americans in order to get into positions of authority and power to help our communities.
Perfect. How has your role as a father helped you in higher education?
It motivates me to do my best every single day because I'm a father that believes in it. If I demand excellence for my children, they're going to learn it from one place. So therefore, I strive to do my best, not just grade-wise, but every single day, being on time, being prepared, being aware of myself, and understanding the use of time management.
Perfect. And do you have any bars for us?
But understand that the game is to be sold, not to be told. That's why they teach you stocks, bonds, and that number-ish. Get it? Stocks, bonds, and that number-ish. We failed to realize that at one point we were the livestock that was being traded on Wall Street, and we were done by bondage. Get it? Stocks, bonds, and that numbers-ish.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
I know it's a loaded question, but basically,
No,
I'm gonna wrap it up.
See, Mr. Lee asked me to do some bars the last time, but I can't curse because this is a
Educational
thing.
Hey y'all, thank y'all so much for watching my video. I really hope you got to understand more about the HBCU experience and Black excellence. Everyone in this video that I featured, sorry y'all, my throat is killing me, is who means Black excellence to me, or the people who represent Black excellence to me. And it's not that they're perfect, it's not that they're better than anyone else, but because they are themselves, that makes them excellent. And they share their talents every day, and I'm thankful for them. And I hope this brought you joy.